Can you, as a human being, observe your fears? Sit down, take a breath, think about your fears. Can you observe them very carefully? Take your time, there's no rush. Just observe. Fear of death, fear of loneliness, fear of tomorrow, fear of losing your job, your spouse, your partner, fear of losing your status, your energy, your vitality. Fear of not being as intelligent, articulate, or capable as someone else. We all have fears. Now, the question I ask is, can you be aware of them? Can you truly observe them? Now listen carefully. Does the word fear create fear? Or does fear exist without the word? This is crucial. Does the word fear awaken that feeling inside you? Or does fear exist independently of the word? This is very important to understand if you are serious about seeking freedom from fear, total freedom psychologically. Because if we can understand psychological freedom from fear, then biological fears, the fears of the body, become something entirely different, don't they? If there is freedom from fear inwardly, then biological intelligence naturally guides you, telling you what to do and what not to do. But let's leave that discussion for later. First, we need to have a dialogue about psychological fear. So when you observe your fear, you immediately use the word fear. But the word is not the thing. The word tent is not the actual tent. The word fear is that fear. Or does fear exist without the word? This is something very important to discover because we are caught in words. Words, symbols, their meanings. They've become tremendously significant to us. So, can you separate the word from the fact? The word tent is just a way of describing, of communicating, but it is not the tent itself. In the same way, is the word fear the fear, or is it separate from the feeling? This is a deeply important question because every human being is trapped in this cycle of fear. Fear of the future, fear of past failures, fear of guilt, fear of what they've done or failed to do, fear of what they hope to achieve but may not, fear of failure, fear of psychological pain, frustration, the endless internal demands we place on ourselves. We live with this. We've lived with this for thousands of years. What do? We push fear away. We avoid it. We run from it. But here, right now, I'm asking, can you separate the word from the feeling, or is the word itself creating the feeling? Without the word, does fear exist? And if there is only a sensation, what is that sensation? Please try to understand this. Let's take an example. Suppose I'm afraid of not being able to speak to an audience, like I'm doing right now, because I have a serious illness, like cancer. I don't have it, don't worry. And even if you do worry, I don't have it. But let's suppose I had this illness, and because of it, I felt frustrated, unable to express myself. I've spent the last 50 years communicating with people. So naturally, I'd feel afraid. I'm not afraid, but let's assume I was. Now, I ask myself, is the word fear making me afraid? Or does this feeling exist by itself? If the feeling exists by itself, what is it? The feeling is fear of tomorrow, fear of pain, fear of all that might come. And what is this feeling? It's a sensation, isn't it? Without the word, it's just a sensation. But when we label that sensation with the word fear, it becomes fear. Do you see that? It has to make sense to you. Let me repeat. Without the word, the feeling is just a sensation. But when we name it, it transforms into fear. And what happens if you observe that sensation with all your senses without naming it? Do you understand what I'm saying? We always associate the word with a thing. When you hear the word tent, an image immediately forms in your mind. Small, large, colorful, whatever it may be. You see the tent in your mind instantly. But the word is not the tent. Fear. We all know this feeling. Every human being in every part of the world knows this heavy burden called fear. It has haunted humanity for millions of years. And when you are afraid, your mind shrinks, you become paralyzed, you lose sight of everything. We all know this feeling, so you need to find out for yourself, not by repeating what I'm saying. That has no value, but discover for yourself whether the word is separate from the sensation, or if the word is creating the sensation. If there is a separation between the word and the sensation, then what you're left with is just a sensation. But the moment you name that sensation, it turns into fear. And if you don't name it, what remains? Just the sensation. Now, observe that sensation with the totality of all your senses without labeling it with the word. Do you understand what I'm talking about? The matrix is complex, but each of us holds a part of the solution. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and together we'll see beyond appearances.